Here goes Square. Yep, who's that? Hey, Calico. We got a Calico there. It's coming down. They got Square there. So we'll see which one makes it to my lap first, right? Let's see. Ooh, Calico's going to make it. No, she's going around. She's going to get something to eat. Or do you want to go out? Anyway, time for one of my favorite things to do. And that is bash the VA, Veterans Administration. I could make numerous videos on that. We'll start current. Well, you know what? We'll bounce around a little bit. Let's go all the way back to when I had my cabbage done. Open heart surgery. The VA didn't do it. Let's get straight up on that. So anyway, back when I was having heart issues, well, still do. But anyway, back when I was having severe heart issues, I went to the VA quacks, cardiology, in Flint, and told them that I was popping nitro pills daily. I am proud to be a veteran, though, so don't think that. You know, serving in the military, awesome. I think everybody should serve. So anyway, back when I was having heart issues, where I was popping nitro pills daily, I go to the VA, and I'd been complaining for months. So I went down to Ann Arbor. Went down to Ann Arbor for the annual heart appointment, and the MP there, Denise, I won't say her last name, but anyway, Denise, I told her what was going on, and she says, I'm not sending you home. She says, not until we check your heart out. She says, that's not right if you're taking that many nitro pills. She says, there's something going on. So I'm like, you know, fine. So I was in there for a couple of days while they ran their tests. So then the quack, now you got to remember that some of these doctors are VA, well, they call themselves doctors. That's why they wear the little thing that says MD and it has their name. That's so when they look at it, they can go, oh, me doctor is what the MD stands for. So anyway, cardiologist. I actually had one cardiologist come in, and a lot of them are from the University of Michigan that work at the VA. And I had numerous stents put in over a few years there. He actually told me, he says, we're not going to put a stent in to make you feel better. Well, there's another Calico. The purpose of the stents is to make you feel better, to get better flow to the heart. So anyway, I actually had a cardiologist say that he was from the University of Michigan, but he was working at the VA. He actually said, we're not going to put one in to make you feel better. So anyway, they ran all their tests and that. And they said, okay, well, you know, we're going to release you. You know, everything's fine with your heart. There's nothing wrong. Even though I was popping nitro pills daily almost. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I was still having issues, obviously. And so then I went to a real cardiologist, the one that originally did my original stents and cath and all that. And, well, come here. I went and seen him, told him what was going on, and I said, yeah, I went to the VA. I says, you know, they said everything was fine, and he says, well, it's the VA. So anyway, he scheduled a cath. So then I'm laying around the table. It's cool because you're awake while they do the cath, so that's pretty sweet. And because you can look up at the monitors and you can see your heart. You can see the cath where it goes in. You can see them shooting the dye and everything. So that's pretty freaking sweet. I used to really, I like, you know, watching that. It's like, yeah, that's the inside of me. So anyway, so he's doing his cath and checking things out. Then he says, tells his nurse, he says, call Dr. Fligner in here. I know I have the name wrong, but it says call Dr. Fligner in here. One thing you don't want to hear is your cardiologist call in another cardiologist, right? Well, he was a surgeon, the guy he called in. So he looked at it and then shot some more dye and got a better look. And so then he looked at me and he says, well, he says, time to crack you open. Okay, now keep in mind, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it was, prior to that, the VA said everything is fine with your heart, no problem. Okay, when they did their cath, the real doctor, I had 100% blockage in one, 2 in the 95 plus range, and the 4th one was 84, 85, 86%, something like that. But the VA said everything was fine. So anyway, they told me after they did the cabbage, I went in to do a quadruple, but they could only fix 3 of them. He said of the 100% blockage was like a lead pipe. He says I couldn't do anything with it. He says, so you'll still have some discomfort from that. And he says, but couldn't do anything with it. So so after they did the surgery and everything, and you want to talk about getting your ass kicked? Yeah, they have a cabbage done. But that's a whole other video on that. And so anyway, then they told me what the blockages were, and it says if you would have waited until December, more than likely you would have been dead. And that's how the VA works. We would rather have you die than to spend the money to take care of you. If people remember, in Arizona, there were veterans waiting to be seen, and they were dying waiting to be seen before they could get an appointment. And it wasn't just Arizona, it was all over the place. And the VA gets a ridiculous amount of money, so keep in mind, money is not an issue with the VA. When the VA moved to their location in Flint, moved to the new location, they bought all new furniture. 2 or 3 months later, they bought all new furniture again. And I was like, well, what's with the new furniture? You guys just bought new furniture. And they said, well, because in mental health, if the veterans get upset, it's harder for them to throw the bigger chairs. So it's like, gee, why would veterans get upset? Comments like, well, if you kill yourself, you'll be another statistic. You'll just be another statistic. Another one wanting you to follow, do homework and stuff. And I'm like, homework? Really? I'm a guy that served his country. I'm up there in age, and it's like, and you're telling me that I have to do homework? Bullshit. So anyway, she tried to get me pissed off. Now keep in mind, this is one of the therapists down there in Ann Arbor. She said, my truck had just been swiped. So that was pretty upsetting, so I wanted to talk about that. I was in pretty bad shape. That was my living, my heating and cooling truck. So I wanted to talk about that. She goes, well, I need your homework. I says, the homework that you gave me was in the van. The van was taken. Don't you understand that? And she says, well, you still have to do the homework. And I says, it's like, oh my God, are you really that stupid? I didn't say that, but I was thinking, oh my God, this bitch is stupid. So anyway, I says, I couldn't because it was in the van. I no longer had the van. The van got swiped. Same weekend, a buddy of mine lost his electric truck, believe it or not. So anyway, she says, oh, you're yelling. I'm like, what do you mean I'm yelling? And she goes, you're yelling. I'm like, no, I'm not. I says, if I was yelling, they would hear me out in the waiting room or down the hall. She goes, you are too yelling. And she just kept saying that, literally trying to piss me off to get me to yell. And now keep in mind, this was all on videotape because she was new, so they were videotaping it. So I'm like, I'm not yelling. If I was yelling, you would know I'm yelling. And she kept being persistent that I was yelling, and she says, well, you have to leave. She says, I don't have to take this abuse. You're yelling. And I was only in there like not even 10 minutes with her. So I'm like, fine. So when I complained about it, nothing was done. The videotape disappeared. I seen her hit the record button. I seen the light on the camera recording, but yet she didn't record it. Yeah, she freaking erased it. So So anyway, so the whole cardiology thing, them saying everything was fine, which obviously was a lie. They would rather have had me die. The mental health down there sucked. The mental health in Flint, I went through 2 or 3 people there, and the one guy, black guy, it was like I was wasting his time. The whole time I was there talking to him, it was like he kept looking at his watch. He kept yawning. It's like, well, I got something better to do than listen to you. And I'm like, you're getting paid to listen to veterans come in here and whine. So I wasn't with him very long. Then I changed again. And then another girl, oh, well, you can't swear. You got to be shitting me. She goes, you can't even say that. She says, I won't see you if you swear. It's mental health. You're talking about a guy that got blown up that you knew next to you, or shot or crushed or anything like that. You're not going to say, well, yeah, my buddy, next to me, got shot, took a bullet to the head, vest, whatever. You're not going to say, or if a female was raped. She's not going to say, oh, yeah, when I was in the military, I was sexually assaulted, and, so it kind of bothers me. She's going to say, that fucking asshole raped me. But anyway, so she wouldn't take any kind of language at all, and I'm like, oh my God, you're in the wrong field. If you're in the mental health field, man, you are going to hear things that you really don't want to hear. You have to be able to listen to it. You have to be able to swear, because you're not getting the point across. Anyway, shit like that. So finally I got a girl that was good, and then after a couple of years, it was like she settled in, and it was like, yeah, okay, now she's the one who told me if I killed myself, then I'd just become another statistic. Many times when I left the VA in Flint, I was worse off than when I went there. I was more suicidal, more angry. Jean, she noticed it numerous times I came out of there, and she was like really concerned because I was in worse shape than when I went in. That's not what's supposed to happen. They switched the one doctor, I won't give her name, but, well, she pretended to be a doctor. She was a quack. I had a ulcer. She goes, I don't believe you. She goes, you didn't have an ulcer. And I'm like, I went to a doctor. He gave me 2 different medications. And after being on them for the week or whatever it was, I honestly don't remember the length, I think it was about a week, the ulcer was fine. And I says, if those medications were for ulcers and I didn't have an ulcer, guess what? The medication would not have worked. She goes, well, did he do a scope on you? I'm like, no, he was a real doctor. He didn't need to. And she goes, well, then you didn't have an ulcer. Now, keep in mind, it was George, kind of a friend. And I used to do all this heating and cooling for him. And a lot of times if I had a problem, I could just go see him. He'd say, come in through, the back door. And he'd put other patients on hold to see me. And never charged me. He stitched up my thumb because of Michael. But he had to stitch up my thumb. It got a pretty good gash. And gave me a tetanus shot. Well, I called him and asked him for the shot. And I said, I'll pay for it. And he didn't charge me anything. A variety of other things, too. George was a really good guy. So she would not believe that I had an ulcer. And I also had a couple of small, I guess, God, I hate it when I can't remember. I want to say seizures, but they weren't seizures. There were, I'll come back to that. Maybe I'll remember. I figured it's 02:30. So anyway, no matter what you told her, and I told her when I was having some of the problems, I says if I took oxygen, I would get over it quicker and I'd feel better. And her immediate response was, oh, I'm not going to put you on oxygen. I'm like, I'm not asking you to. You're asking what's going on. I'm telling you what's going on. So she was a real quack doctor. She was a horrible doctor. Everything that I said, she didn't, and I had Jean would go with me, so I would have a witness. And she didn't believe anything that I was saying. A stroke, that's what it was. I went to get out of bed, and I immediately fell to the left. My whole left side was all jacked. And I recouped for it. I think it was my left side, yeah. I recouped from it, no problem. My one eye doesn't open all the way. That's only remnants of it, so I kind of lucked out. But that happened a couple of different times, and she goes, wow, you didn't have a stroke. Okay. Another time, my knee was killing me. Went to Ann Arbor. A girl that was training to be a doctor, she checked me out, and as soon as I exposed my knee, she was like, well, I can see right there's a problem with your knee, just looking at it without even touching it. So then, she felt around and stuff. She goes, yeah, you got a problem. So she had to get, her boss is okay to get an x-ray. He says, he doesn't need an x-ray, there's nothing wrong. And she was actually arguing with him, and she argued with him, and she was still arguing with him when I left. She was still arguing with him, saying, the guy's got a problem with his knee, I can physically see it visibly, and her exam showed that I had a problem. Another one of the quack doctors down there, when I was having knee problems, I'm walking, they said, well, walk down the hall, and they turned around and come back. And they said, oh, well, it's like you're reaching